Let's talk pricing on comparable properties. Hey guys, I'm Zach Sykes at Homestead & Co. Today I wanted to talk about our listing pricing conversation number 2 of 3. Now this is where we actually present our comparable sales to the client themselves, right? And so we do this in a way where they set the price based on real market data, right? If you remember in section 1 or part 1 of the conversation, we set the scenarios up so they price it at market. Scenario 2, we're helping them determine what market value really is. So let's jump right into it. So I've gone ahead and pulled up a property as an example. That's one of my personal properties. I bought this one back in 2011, lived in it a couple years, and now it is a great rental property. So first thing we're going to do when we present comparable sales is we're going to have this printed out on our paperwork, and it gives us the basic information we need to know with beds, baths, square footage, okay? Next, I'm going to go ahead and pull up their comparable properties. Now, I've gone ahead and already pulled these comps here. These are the 4 closest comparables to the house we had pulled up earlier. So we're going to click on the first one, and we're going to click right at the pictures. And we're going to bring this up in front of our client at the listing presentation. We're going to go through these properties with them. We're going to ask them, hey, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, is this house better or worse than your house, or pretty comparable, right? And they're going to look through the pictures and they're going to say, well, this kitchen is nice, but I think ours is a little bit nicer. So great. This one sold at $99.50 a square foot, and they didn't pay anything in concessions. So we're going to go ahead and write that down. Better than 99. Next, we're going to look at the next property. All right, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, there's only one picture of this property, so let's just be aware of this one and go to the next property. Great, now let's look at this one. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, would you consider your house better, worse, or comparable to this property? I said, well, we think ours is, the living room may be a little better, but the kitchen's better over there. You know, we think our living room is better, but their bathrooms are more updated. So overall, it's pretty comparable. So now we know, based on what they told us, that 113 minus 5,000 in seller's concessions is pretty comparable. So we'll go ahead and call this 111 or 112 a square foot. 111 or so is pretty comparable. Now let's look at the next one. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, based on these pictures and the condition of this property, would you consider this property to be in better condition, nicer than yours, or not quite as nice? How does this compare to yours? And they're going to say, oh, wow, that one looks really nice. That one may be a little bit nicer than ours. Okay, great. Now, this one was on at $117 a foot and at $4,000 in concessions. So probably sold closer to that $115, $116 a foot. So now we know we're comparable to the 111. We're not quite as nice as the 116. So we've got that 111 range. And so what we'll do is we'll do some quick math. We're going to do 111 times the square footage we had on their property, which gives us $177,600. I'm going to show the calculator to them and ask them, so based on what you're telling me, pretty comparable to the other one, we're going to be around $177,600. What are your thoughts? Guys, the key here is when you ask them what are their thoughts, we're going to be silent and let them tell us what they think. We don't want to give them an out to lead through. We have to truly understand what their thoughts are of that price. More than likely, they're going to say either something like, oh, that sounds good, let's go and get it listed. Perfect, now we're good to go. Or they're going to say, well, I was really wanting a little bit more for the property. So you can come back with, great, I understand. Now, based on what you told me, based on the comparable properties, this is where the price should be. And we know that if we overprice, we could get lowball pretty bad. So what do you want to do? or where do you want to price? And 80, 90% of the time they're going to say, you know what, you're right, let's price it there. So if we're in this range of 111 to definitely below 117, maybe we'll price it at 180,000 and see what the market does. Guys, those are your big pieces here. I'm going to go back over the two big keys. The first one, when we're comparing the comparable properties, we're always looking at this price per foot, okay? I know that's not how the appraisers will do it, but our point here is not to necessarily find the appraisal comparable value. Our goal here is to help them look at these other properties without having their emotions tied into the final price. Guys, so often when you're comparing another house to somebody's house, they're going to say, well, what am I going to get out of my house? And really, what do I need out of it? When in reality, what they need out of it doesn't matter, right? Only what the market will bear is what matters when pricing the property. So we do price per foot to help them remove their emotion away from the final price that they know it should probably be. The next key here, guys, is we're going to ask the seller to grade their property in comparison or relative to the other properties out there, other properties we're comparing against. So they're the ones saying better or worse, and they're the ones setting that price. So whenever we come back to it, so well, based on what you told me, Mr. Seller, this is where we should be priced. What are your thoughts? Well, Mr. Seller, you told me we need to price at this price based on what you told me over here. What makes your house $10,000 more valuable when they want to go price too high? And they're not going to have a good answer for you. They're going to say, you know what, you're right. Well, let's price it where we need to price it. Guys, one of the things that makes this work at a super high level is we're not answering their questions for them. We're asking the questions, leading the client to come to their own conclusion based on the data. Right? The data cannot be disputed. Our opinions can. And so in order to maintain that high level of confidence and guidance in this process, we're going to guide them based on the data, let them answer the questions, guys. That's going to be a huge piece. So if you ever do miss in the price, it's easy to come back and say, hey, we guessed wrong, not, I'm sorry, I screwed up, I told you the price was here, now it's here. And it starts to erode your credibility. So we don't want to see happen. So we have to let the agent, or sorry, let the client set the price based on the data, and then translate that to the final price to be able to get the property sold right away and price it correctly. Guys, I'm Zach Sykes at Homestead & Co., and thanks for watching.